Hey y'all, welcome back to a new video. I'm on the second day of this trip already and nothing exciting has happened. This is shaping up to be a boring video unless my fortunes change. The best thing I can say so far is the waitress at the diner said, "That's a pretty sharp look you got going there." And I said, "Hey, not bad for a truck driver, right?" But look, she was just trying to get a tip. I know how the game works. Moving on. What we're gonna start with is trip planning, meaning where am I going to be tomorrow? How long is it going to take me to get there? Let's look at the hours and where am I going to stop for my break? Things like that. It's real important to plan ahead when you're a truck driver because that clock is running and you can't cheat it. So I recorded some things last night to show y'all how I got to where I am tonight, which by the way is Baker City, Oregon. Kind of surprising that, I've never seen so many cowboys in my life. Everybody that walks in has got a cowboy hat and cowboy boots. I feel like I'm in Texas. That's beside the point. Let's get started. Now, the first thing you look at when doing your trip planning is, how long is it going to take me to get there? We'll get on the trip planning in a little bit, but right now I'm not feeling inspired to talk about trip planning. I was just laying here, all of my random thoughts, because I have a lot of time to think, and I'm thinking, man, I sure am a long way from home. You have these thoughts about what these other places are like. New York City. I've never been to New York City, but I have these illusions of what it's like. What do people who aren't from Louisiana think about Louisiana? I don't know. I'm sure it's all negative. They probably think that we have funny accents. So these are sort of random thoughts. Now imagine if you're driving for 11 hours. It's 11 hours of this nonsense. But that's how I pass the time, just thinking. See what I'm doing here? I can't have my hand touch my face. I always have to have a barrier. I don't know why. If it's somebody else's hand, oh my Lanta. I can feel their hand there for like 6 hours if they touch me, especially the palm of their hand. Maybe the back of the hand's not so bad. Oh, I can't have that. I have this, if I have a collared shirt, I'll pull the collar up, or even if it's a t-shirt, I'll pull a t-shirt up and stretch it. This is great. I got a hood on, so I can just pull the hood around. Everything's got to be symmetrical. I have to have the strings the same length, and they get out of whack. See, these are close, but they got out of whack. You know how hard it is to get the strings the same length? You got to pull the hood tight, and then you got to grab the hood from the back and work it, but you got to feel which side the string is pulling from and work them evenly to get them. See, I'm pulling back. If I see somebody with uneven strings, I got to turn away, But that's pretty good. I like to tuck them in too, because I don't like the strings showing. All right, I was able to exercise all those demons. Now you know a little bit more about my neuroses and my OCD. By the way, if you hear me say we live in this gotcha culture where everybody's got to correct somebody, it's not really OCD. I understand. There's what people say OCD is sort of the common colloquial version of it, is just somebody who's fastidious and whatever. I get that there's a different OCD, the clinical version, which is different from cleaning glass or even strings. So I get it. It's just what people say, okay? So don't come at me. Now that I've exercised those demons, we can get on to trip planning. I was getting ready to show y'all all these nice screenshots that I took of my maps and everything, and I realized it might not make as much sense if you've never seen the Garmin Truck GPS before. So I'm going to show y'all what that is, and then we'll get back to the trip planning. Here we go. Here's Garmin Truck GPS. The first thing you have to do is set up your truck information. So you can put how many trailers. I used to pull doubles, so I would have 2. The height, the width, the length, your overall weight, number of axles. Hazardous material was an important one when I was hauling fuel, because we can't drive through tunnels or around airports and stuff. So it'll route you around those spots. It makes it a lot easier for the driver. Once you have all of that set, then you can go to your routing. And it's got all places, truck locations like parking, truck stops, truck washes, services if you need tires or repairs. Of course, you have saved, so you can put like your yard where you park the truck, or the main terminal of your company, your favorite truck stops, things like that. You've also got your recent, which is, it keeps a pretty long history of everywhere you've been, you see. And of course, the typical, just go ahead and punch in the address. You can also search a certain thing. Like, let's say I want to find a Flying J truck stop. Flying J. Now I'm in Baker City, Oregon, but you can change that. Let's say I'm going to Seattle. Seattle, Washington. Guess what? There are none. But anyway, so it'll give you an idea. So it makes it really easy. So here we go. From where I was to where my delivery was is 16 hours and 24 minutes by car. Well, you know, it's a little longer by truck, but I only have 11 hours to drive in a day, which means I need to find a place to park, preferably a truck stop, that's around 11 hours, but not over 11 hours away from where I was. So how do I do that? Pilot Flying J is where we get fuel. So I go to their app, and then I click on locations, and I can just trace my route and see every Pilot or Flying J truck stop along the route. And then, of course, you can click on an individual store like this Pilot in Elsenburg, and it'll give you information about that specific store, like directions. You can reserve a parking spot online, or you can reserve a shower. It shows you everything, really, what they have to eat. Usually there's some fast food restaurant, Cinnabon. Cinnabon. But that's just for Pilot and Flying J. Trucker Path app shows you all truck stops. It also shows you weigh scales. It shows you rest areas. It'll show you places to get fuel, whatever you want. And of course, it shows you that in the whole region. So if you look at Seattle, Tacoma, everything's in Tacoma, not Seattle. Look at that. Nothing in Seattle, because they don't like trucks and they don't like truck drivers. Anyway, but this is just an idea of how we can find a spot. So I found one that was 10 hours and 36 minutes by car. But if you look at what the Garmin says, 11 hours and 8 minutes, you see at the bottom right. Well, usually the truth lies somewhere in between, because Garmin has me calculated as going 65 miles an hour, but this truck will do 70. So I can beat that time. So you need a plan B. My plan B was another truck stop, 9.5 hours by car and 9 hours and 51 minutes by truck. Now we're talking, because you need that plan B in case there's really bad weather, a really bad accident, who knows. So you don't want to be stuck out there and can't make it to your destination. So it's good to have a backup plan before you set out. And always remember, you gotta check the weather. I'm driving here in Wyoming, I-80. I left Rawlins earlier, and I love when they build a tunnel through a mountain. Where I come from, tunnels go underwater, but when you're out west, tunnels go through mountains, and that's so cool. Going up the Three Sisters. The Three Sisters is an infamous section of I-80 in western Wyoming. I don't know if you can tell, but it looks like you're going straight up, and you are. It's about a 6% grade, and if you're from Louisiana, 6% of anything don't sound like much, but 6% grade out west, or anywhere, it's steep, and I mean real steep. And when you're going down at 6%, that's when it gets a little scary. because you got 80,000 pounds, or when I was hauling doubles, I'd be at 113,000 pounds. Man, it's hard to stop that, especially when you're going straight downhill, and especially at that distance or that length. You can't use your brakes too much, because if you keep using your brakes, they'll get hot and then they'll start to smoke. And then if you keep using them, well, then they'll catch on fire. Of course, if you're hauling fuel, that's no bueno. So what do? Well, go see my previous video about the Jake brake. This is the perfect application for that. You're going downhill, why not use the truck's own engine and momentum to slow it down to supplement your service brakes so you don't overheat them. Man, and the Three Sisters are called that because this is the first one and you got two more waiting for you on the other side. Now the third one's not as bad, but still. Weber Canyon, Utah. I have a feeling that if this was in any other state in America, they'd call it Weber Canyon because it's W-E-B-E-R, like the grills that you barbecue on. But you know, Utah. It's really beautiful though. It's a windy thing, but it's nothing we can't handle. You just got to take it real slow through these curves. But I was feeling pretty good. I mean, the weather was fine. It doesn't look fine, but at least it wasn't snowing. Oh wait, yeah, 2 minutes later, this is what it looked like. Typical weather out west in the winter, man. I learned that the hard way when I first moved out here. But I gotta be honest with you. When we come, okay, legend, we see you flashing away. What was I saying? When you come from somewhere that's flat as a plate of piss, like Louisiana, driving through stuff like this is actually pretty cool. I know it can be treacherous at times, like the Three Sisters we just passed, and Weber Canyon here. But man, it's just so beautiful. You only think that stuff like this is on TV in the movies, but then you actually start driving it, and I don't know what to say. I just have my eyes wide open, I take it all in, and it really turns truck driving from a job into something that can actually be pretty enjoyable, even if the weather's bad. Good old Weber Canyon. And as usual, things went from bad to worse. I tell you what, man, it's no rest for the weary. It started snowing pretty hard. I think this was in Morgan, Utah, which I love because I once knew a girl named Morgan. And if you saw my last video, I was bemoaning the fact that I had to drive through all this bad weather for 5 hours. I was hoping to catch a break on this trip, but here we go. I don't know, maybe it's just my luck. But eventually things would turn around hours later when I finally made it to Oregon. And man, Oregon was just beautiful. Yes, sir, there it is. Dry roads, beautiful blue skies with some nice white clouds. I was happy, but I was racing the clock. Let's get back to trip planning. Remember, I got 11 hours to drive, and Garmin's saying 11 hours and 8 minutes. But the Google was saying, I don't know, what was it, 10 hours and 26 minutes or something like that. So I'm racing the clock. It's hammered down. I can't stop. I can't slow down. I got to make it there before I run out of hours. I kept driving, and I made it to my truck stop with 1 minute left on the clock. 1 minute, but that's all you need. And if you've seen one of my other videos, you saw the end of the day delirium that I get. Well, I also get the polar opposite, which is end of the day mental exhaustion. Truck driving can take a lot out of you, and here I am just sitting in the parking lot at the truck stop, staring out the windows in complete silence. I look like a complete nut job, but sometimes that's all you can do. I just was completely uninspired, and just that's all I felt like doing at the moment. But I went in, got me a nice plate of food, the waitress complimented me, and I guess that kind of made it all better. I was able to come back outside and start putting together this video for y'all. But yeah, this is what it looks like sometimes at the end of the day. It ain't pretty, but it is what it is. All right, y'all, we got to talk. It happened to me again. If you saw my last video, you remember that I was in Great Falls, Montana, and there was a problem with the receiver, and I couldn't get my trailer unloaded when I got there for the delivery, so I had to wait all day and then all day the next day for them to get to me. Well, it happened again. I can't deliver today because the place is closed, so I have to just wait here, and I'll be able to leave out early in the morning and get to my delivery tomorrow. So now I got a day off. So I decided it's a beautiful day. Let me go ahead and get some breakfast and then go take a walk and explore the sprawling metropolis that is downtown Baker City, Oregon. Well, I got dressed and I had to fold my hoodie from the night before, so I'm going to show you all my technique. You lay it down face down and you do a quarter of a fold and then kind of fold the sleeve back on a 45-degree angle to get it nice and flat. Then you do another quarter fold where the two sides meet up right in the middle. Then you fold the hood back and a couple of more folds and you got a perfectly square fold with the logo showing. Bam! After that, I took to the streets. I got to see a couple of bulls. I got to go downtown and see City Hall when they had this nice big cannon. I even got to stop at the YMCA and take a shower. No, I'm just joking about the shower. If you know anything about me, you know I am a fool for running water. So I found this little river, and just the sounds of it, oh man, it's so relaxing. I could sit here all day. This is nice. Good way to spend a day off. Well, I kept walking and I found this park and I had to indulge my inner child by getting on the swing set. Check out the dismount. Whoa, stuck the landing. From there, I had to move on to the jungle gym. I'll tell you what, I probably haven't been on a slide since, I don't know, I was a kid. Same thing with the swing set. I couldn't get enough of it. But I couldn't be a kid all day. I did take some time to be an adult and read the monument in memory of the American cowboy. I continued my little walk around the park and made friends with some nice furry creatures like this squirrel. Hey, little squirrel, you want some food? Then I checked out this gazebo. My adulting continued here. See how much fun I was having? It was such a nice gazebo. Maybe you'd call it a pavilion. It's too big to be a gazebo. It was a pavilion. How about that? And then it was off to this picnic area, and the fun continued. But I couldn't be an adult for too long, y'all. Eventually, I had to show my true colors. Whee! Whee! All right, enough of that. More squirrels, more furry creatures. Man, this guy, you see, I guess they're so used to humans, they want you to feed them. It kind of broke my heart. I didn't have any food for him. Sorry, bud. And then check this out. Some graffiti artist went and spray painted the wall of this building. Damn teenagers. I hope they caught that kid. And y'all don't know, but I used to clean sewers and storm drains, so everywhere I go, I always check out the storm drains and the fire hydrants and the manhole covers. Can't help it. Well, it was goodbye Baker Truck Corral and hello I-84 West to Seattle. You know, I really enjoyed my day. Well, I enjoyed the first half of my day off. The second half was boring. I didn't have anything to do after my walk, so I just sat in the truck. Nah, that's neither here nor there. So what you're looking at now is me driving over Cabbage. Now, unfortunately, it was still dark outside, so you can't really see much. But Cabbage is a pretty infamous hill in Oregon where it's 6 miles of a 6% downhill grade with switchbacks. That's the wrinkle on this one that makes it extra challenging. But you know what? I made it through. Y'all knew that. Well, quick update update for y'all. I've been driving for about 4 hours. I made one stop to buy some washer fluid because my washer fluid was getting low, and so they have a little warning on the dash. But it doesn't just say washer fluid low and you hit OK and it goes away. It's got to warn me every 90 seconds that my washer fluid is getting low. Like it's this critical thing. Why is this guy slowing down? I love when somebody's doing, oh, he's taking the exit. Alright, that makes sense. Anyway, I am in Yakima, Washington, and I'm about 2.5 hours away from my delivery. I always laugh when I get to Yakima because there was an episode of iCarly where the grandfather came and he was going to take her away. Her brother's raising her, you know, and the grandfather said that the brother wasn't responsible enough. So anyway, he lived in Yakima, and Carly had to move to Yakima, and she was really distraught over having to leave her friends behind. So now that I'm in Yakima, I can kind of see why she didn't want to move here. It's not bad, but you know, it's Yakima. Anyway, that's my update. I will check in with y'all later. So I'm going to include a few more driving shots. I try not to do too much of this, but man, when the scenery really, first of all, I like driving over bridges. But when the scenery is like this, oh man, you know I'm a fool for scenery, right? I mean, just look at that. Look, lake with fog, and there's a mountain in the back, you can barely see it. Man, that was just something. And look, that's the same lake like a minute later. So by the way, this is going into Snoqualmie Pass. Snoqualmie. Look. Walls of snow and the mountains. But yeah, Snoqualmie Pass is where this is. Just unbelievable. All right, y'all. I'm disappointed in myself. Where do I start? I was coming into Seattle. It was my first time going into Seattle. I've been all around it, but never through it. So I was really excited. Oh boy, I get to go to Seattle. So I wanted to kind of record it, just to kind of document it. But the good camera didn't record it. All I got was footage from the audio camera. I used one camera for audio, one camera for video. So I got the crappy footage, but it was kind of funny. So I said, let me put some of it in here. So you're going to see this janky camera angle, but I'm just trying to explain why you're seeing this. But anyway, I feel bad that I didn't get the good footage, but that's what happens with live TV. Here it is, Seattle. Shut up, GPS. Look at that. Wow. Skyscrapers. Look at the ferns and stuff hanging off the overpass. Oh, wow. Man, look at that. Man. Oh, man. Well, it looks like I'm away from all of the cool parts of the city, or the scenic parts. See, they're building like a monorail or something right there. So that'll be nice when it's finished. Yeah, that was cool seeing Seattle, man. I got to see like where all the homeless people are. I think in Seattle the homeless are revered as like national treasures. So it was pretty cool to see their nice tents and. All right. Enough with that. Suffice to say, I was pretty impressed with driving through Seattle. And I started this video wondering if anything exciting was going to happen, and at least it did for me. So I'd have to say that this video is complete. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you join me on the next one. So until then, this is Jason, signing out.